The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E-Buck in the building, and welcome again to another episode of the Big Buck Sports Report. I am, of course, E-Buck, the Big Buck himself, ready to talk sports with y'all. We already got somebody checking in. It is our good friend, Road to Stardom. Hey, Eric, tuning in before I do my show. Yes, shout out to Road to Stardom. Please make sure you follow my friend. I am so thankful now that we not only can direct you to her, but we have her very own promo here in the Nighthawk Network. Because after all, she is family. She truly is. Check it out, y'all.
On Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
And there you have it. Make sure you follow my girl Road to Stardom TV on all your major platforms where podcasts are shown. She's been doing it for over a decade. It's music, it's promotion, it's showing love and getting love shown back. Road to Stardom Radio, y'all. Check it out. Also, we got my man, Big Joe in the building. What's going on? Joseph J. Mosley, also known as Officer Big Joe. Another great person supporting the network. As always, we appreciate you, Joe. Thank you so much. That being said, it is so much going on in the world of sports. We is not going to get to it all. I promise y'all. Because y'all ain't trying to see me sit here for the next 4 or 5 hours talking about everything that happened just the last week. We will fit in as much as we can for this next hour and a half, hour 45. Okay, let's do it that way. Let's start out with we're gonna go with NBA to start out with. Keep in mind, last night, hell, even during the day, apparently it was just a good day to get your scrap on. Because y'all remember earlier in the day yesterday, there was the whole kerfuffle that went on in the Congress situation with senators wanting to fight folks and whatnot. Y'all remember that? If y'all watched the news yesterday, I'm sure y'all saw that. If not, check it out on YouTube. I'm sure it's there. Anyway, that carried over into the NBA last night because apparently NBA night was not just tournament night as they do on Tuesdays and Fridays, not until December, but also fight night because it was a couple dust-ups last night in the NBA. The first one, of course, involving the Lakers and the team they were playing. That one don't really matter. That was just pretty much some pushing and shoving. AD got a little testy with somebody, you know. But the real fight of the night apparently jumped off in that Golden State, Minnesota Timberwolves game last night at Golden State because it wasn't even a good 3-4 minutes into the game. And here they go, ready to get them on. Now, you know, usually we had a highlight to show you, but we've been trying to be very careful as to what we show here on the air so that we don't get flicked and whatnot. People are very sensitive about their stuff, you know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is when I go back to the replay later on, I'm going to add that information for you guys to check out for yourselves in the comments. So when you see the little YouTube link, y'all can watch the little dust up for yourselves. Matter of fact, when the Guru's football session is going on later on in the show, I'll probably add that information for you guys to check out for yourselves. But what it boiled down to was it was a lot of pushing and shoving with your boy, Mr. Thompson, Klay Thompson, and one of the insignificant Minnesota players, really. And that led to them kind of getting into it. And then Rudy Gobert goes to break it up. Now, usually if you are having a scrap with your teammates, y'all basically trying to be peaceful and break things up, you're going to grab your guy and let them grab their guy, right? Not what happened. Rudy went and grabbed Klay. Now, y'all know, if y'all know the Golden State Warriors, there is one person on the squad that was not having that. And sure enough, he jumped up in it. That would be that dude, the enforcer of the Golden State Warriors, you know him as young Draymond Green. Yeah, he wasn't happy with that. So yeah, he jumped up in there and grabbed Rudy by the neck and like, no, let my man's go and whatnot. And yeah, it got kind of ugly after that. Needless to say, all players except for Rudy Gobert was ejected from the game, and they went on from there. Keep in mind, like I said, this was like 2 minutes into the game itself. Now, understand, because at that point, Golden State is missing Klay Thompson, it's missing Draymond Green, and was already missing Steph Curry because he was out due to injury that night. You pretty much figured that, yeah, they weren't going to win that one. That being said, it speaks to how bad Minnesota is because, yeah, that game was a lot closer than it should have been after that, plain and simple. But the question of the day now is what happens to Draymond? Now, of course, as you know, Draymond been in the league several years, and this is not his first rodeo, man. Not at all. He pumped out Rudy's soft cheeks. Indeed. Because, you know, a lot of us feel like Rudy Gobert is one of the softer big men in the NBA. Truth be told, at 7'2", you ain't supposed to be letting nobody punk you. But, yeah, that was the case. Yeah, Draymond hemmed him up. So, what happens now, like I said, this ain't Draymond's first rodeo. This ain't even his second or third rodeo. He's been doing this type of stuff in the NBA pretty much his entire career. So we are pretty much expecting that sometime tomorrow it will come down that Draymond will get some type of suspension and or fine. Yeah, I actually did just mention that, Hugh. You must have just checked in, but yeah, I just mentioned that before this one. But here's the thing, people. If I am the NBA, yeah, I got to find Draymond, even though it pretty much. Oh, it looks like we already got an update on that, do we? According to my buddy Hugh, who keeps up with all those things, for those of you looking for that type of information right there on the spot, because he is usually Johnny on the spot with those things, my dude Hugh, please make sure you check out his Sports Guru to You page. That is not Pure to the Game anymore. It's Sports Guru to You. He will type that in the comments for us. Please do that. Thank you very much, sir. According to my buddy Hugh, he has been suspended for 5 games. Is 5 games fair for Draymond Green? That's up for a debate. Let's talk about it briefly, okay? Keep in mind, Draymond, like I said, been in many a kerfuffle over the last decade or so in the NBA. It'd be different if this was a once in a while thing or once every other year thing. But remember, when you look at actual technical fouls in the NBA, the man who has the most technical fouls, amazingly enough, not Draymond Green. That person actually would be Russell Westbrook, who has the most technical fouls since Draymond Green has entered the league. But he's only behind him by a couple, man. So, yes, Draymond has been teed up quite a bit, as we know. Understand that this year, Draymond, I believe, has been teed up, I want to say 6 times already in terms of technical fouls. Okay, more information. According to Hugh Thompson, McDaniels, and Gobert were fined $25,000 as well. Now, I'm finding that rather interesting. What's good, bro? Hugh checking in with you. But yeah, let's go here first when we talk about Draymond. Now, none of them, I'm assuming, got suspended. So I'm sure he would have put that if they did, but they all got fined. Now, here's the thing. I really felt like in the game itself that Thompson and McDaniels shouldn't have even been thrown out of the game either, okay? What they had was pretty much a dust-up. Yeah, what boils down to is in the NBA, if you ball this up and go that way with it, you got to get scooped, man. It got to happen. So that's pretty much why they end up getting tossed out the game. Even though it was glancing, you know, it was more or less like I'll hit you type blow. It wasn't nothing really deep. Now, going back to Draymond, the whole chokehold type thing, I believe this is why he got 5 games. I think if it had just been him kind of getting his push and shove and taking a swing or so at him, but it being Draymond, he probably would have only got 3. Draymond ends up with 5 because bottom line, he is Draymond. It's just like back in the day when you had our good buddy over there who once played for the Pistons. You know what I'm talking about. he basically was known for his technical fouls. And I'm not talking about Dennis Rodman. You know who I'm talking about. That person was often fined for his ne'er-do-well foolishness. Okay? Understand. Check this out. The suspension will cost Draymond $769,704 and forfeit his salary. The length of suspension is based on part of Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. Yep. As that was said earlier, that when they were going to consider it, they were definitely going to consider his past history into account. So no, I am not surprised by that, unfortunately, that did play a fact. But keep in mind, $769,704. I think I probably won't make that this entire decade. And I say many of you will probably be able to say the same. So that's a lot of money. Now understand, Draymond Green is making somewhere up around 30 plus million this season. And the thing that basically hurts him is the fact that he has in the past said that, yeah, I get fined, but yeah, I got the money for it. Basically being insensitive to the fact that the fans help to pay your salary in a way, and yeah, you basically disrespect them by making those assertions. You know what I'm saying? I want to say it's unfair to get him fired, but again, he is a victim of his prior commitments. You know what I'm saying? If this was his first offense, he'd probably be looking at a game. If this was something he did before, he'd probably looking at 2 or 3 games. But because it's Draymond, and because he has this extensive history of being one of those, he gets 5 games. Now, understand, I hope they took into consideration the fact that in the end, he was really just trying to protect his teammate and being the enforcer. As you know, in hockey, teams oftentimes have that enforcer that comes in to help the superstar contend with things properly. That's all this really was in the end. I don't think he had no real issue with Gobert, although clearly Gobert seems to have an issue with him based on his comments after the game, in which he basically said that I find it interesting that whenever whenever Steph Curry is not playing, Draymond finds a way to get himself ejected so he doesn't have to play. Understand that wasn't his exact comments, but it was something close to that. I'm paraphrasing. But I found it interesting that he came out and said that. Needless to say, it's going to be very interesting the next time the Timberwolves play the Warriors. I would expect a lot of quick fouls and some statements made before the game and what have you. Not to mention, I would also expect that I wouldn't be surprised for whatever reason Draymond's not unable to play that game. For whatever reason, we'll see how that plays out, man. But yeah, so that's that. In the end, I think they kind of helping the Warriors in a way. I'm sure they will protest it and whatnot. If it gets reduced, it'll be reduced probably to 4 instead of 5. But in the end, remember, this is an older team. And because they had that new rule against the whole resting your players and whatnot, things like this actually help because, at some point, Draymond was going to need some rest. Might as well go on in and let him get the rest now in these 5 games. Meanwhile, you got Steph, who will probably miss a few more games with whatever issue he has. And, that's part of why you bring over somebody like Chris Paul, because that team does tend to go through their injury scenarios, as does Chris Paul. So this is a good time to put him in the starting lineup and let him get his. You know what I'm saying? He was checking back in. He is saying, Samoan Joe made comments on the Draymond Green suspension. I sent it to your Instagram. Okay, thank you. I will definitely check that out. Again, 60 minutes, and we just talking about what happened in the NBA that day. I mean, I really want to get into what's going on with some of the teams right now. Lakers not looking great. Clippers, yeah, that whole situation with your boy James Harden. Ever since he came there, they ain't won squat. They ain't won a single game since he's arrived. Coincidence? I think not. You got Boston on fire right now. They are looking like the best team in the league. You got Milwaukee playing decent, but of course they've had a little injury issue now with that dude Dame Dollar. We'll have to see how that plays out. The Pistons, oh my God, they look like total cheats. Okay, awful, straight up awful. Yeah, they won them first 2 games. They ain't won crap since. It seems like every game it's the same scenario. They actually start out get into a lead half the time. But then by the time the fourth quarter comes, it all falls to crap. We supposed to have the good coach, man. I'm not seeing where you are any greater improvement than the coach we had last year at this point, man. You got to handle your business, bro. Because my Pistons looking like straight up cheeks right now. I said they was going to be bad, but I wasn't expecting them to be this bad. As she was pointing out, yes, since, now he calling him lame hard. See what type of disrespect you get when you don't handle your proper business? That part. They are indeed 0-5 since James Harden's right. Meanwhile, in Philly, they ain't lost since he left. They are looking very good. And it seems like that might be the combination that we all been waiting for with your boy Joel Embiid and young Maxey. They doing the thing, and they even incorporated the other team players that been basically trying to get they 2 cents up in there. They all looking good as a unit right now. Now they didn't got rid of the beard. You know? Meanwhile, the Clippers, I don't know. I'm imagining it's gonna figure itself out because with those 4 players together, that being Kawhi and the crew, one of them is bound to get hurt sooner or later, and that will probably help out the scenario. Unfortunately, them being an older team with players that constantly get hurt. Watch Harden is going to want to be traded again. This got to be it for the whole Harden thing. I would not trade that dude. And you going to pay him what he going to pay him. If he don't like it, let him go sit down somewhere. Flat out. Harden is starting to get on my nerves. There's several of the talking heads that said that I'm agreeing with them right now. I'm tired of the whole shebang bang. A team that you might want to also check out, Indiana Pacers. They got this real up and down running gun type style that they've been going with this year. And it's really interesting. I mean, they're not winning as much with it as you would like, but it does make for them to be an interesting team to watch. And Cleveland, not quite where I need them to be right now. Step your game up. But yeah, that's just some of the teams that we'll mention right now. We will definitely do a little deeper dive into it as we get deeper into the season. As far as the in-season tournament goes, with the whole different floors and unis and all of that, not so much so far. Not so much. Maybe as we get closer to the finals of those type of tournaments, it might be a little bit better. But me, myself, I'm not feeling it. Not so much. Anyway, that's the NBA. Let's talk a little college basketball right now. All right. We had some good quality games last night. They have this thing called the championship tournament. Basically, we had Duke play Michigan State, and we had Kentucky taking on. Give me a second. I'm going off my memory here. Kansas. They were playing Kansas last night. Now, bottom line, Duke appears to be back, y'all. Remember last year, Duke was not quite the Duke. Well, they wasn't the Duke that we used to, dominating always on TV and such. They are starting to look very much like that Duke again this year. A lot of great players. That's probably going to be a lot of one and dones on that squad. But Duke is pretty much like a factory, much like Alabama at this point. They get them, they build them up, they let them get drafted. They go on to be NBA great. Meanwhile, at Michigan State, the jury's still out on them. They're 1-2, and keep in mind, we always know that Coach Izzo is going to set up a very difficult preseason or non-conference schedule before they get into the Big Ten, because that helps his team be more battle-tested when tournament time comes. That is the thought process behind him doing the schedule. So, yeah, they have been losing. Now, granted, the first team they lost to, James Madison, I understand that, but keep in mind, basketball team and football team, James Madison been playing pretty good. But in terms of losing to Duke, not as big a disgrace in that, though they did lose comfortably. Meanwhile, Kansas and that team called Kentucky, they had a very good game yesterday. They had Kansas on the ropes, said Hugh, talking about Kentucky. Roll Tide, of course, you got to go there. The thing is, people, I'm liking that Kansas squad, and the reason I'm liking them is because they got pretty much all three levels, much like they did last year in UConn as they went on to win the tournament. The thing is, though, Hunter Dickinson, the former Michigan Wolverine, who basically hit the transfer portal and is now there at Kansas as a graduate player, already kind of disrespecting his memory in Michigan by saying how great it is in Kansas and so on and so forth in a way that I just did not care for. Not at all. You had the nerve to run that back. No, you didn't. You anyway. Yeah. Don't forget where you came from, Hunter Dixon. That being said, it appears he has lost some weight and he is a little bit more mobile. He is doing a better job shooting from the outside. He is basically trying to set himself up to play on the big stage in the NBA. And I think the same can be said for Edey in Purdue, the 7'4" guy that is one of the top players in the country right now. He too has seemed to be streamlined and trying to adjust his game for today's NBA play, where basically everybody, regardless of size, needs to know how to shoot that three ball. That part. Oh, before I go to the women's side of college, let me mention that that dude, Wembanyama, not so much these last couple games, okay? I thought he would struggle at times this year, which was why I picked him not to be Rookie of the Year. And yesterday, he struggled. Might go look at the box score and see what his game was like yesterday. He was not that big a factor at all. Meanwhile, Holmgren, the guy he was playing that plays for OKC, that dude is a difference maker for them. Again, I do believe I said that was my choice for Rookie of the Year, either him or perhaps even Oster Thompson for the Pistons, because he's about the only thing on the Pistons that's really pistoning right now outside of Cade Cunningham, who still ain't playing like a 1 overall. Rode is saying the Kentucky-Kansas game was good. It was definitely a good game, Rode. I do agree. It was like I said, it's a lot of good players on both of those squads. I definitely see between those two squads at least about 8 or 9 of those guys making it to the NBA sometime next year or two. Now, again, let us go to women's college basketball, which is actually, if you've been following, already even better than it was last year, if that's possible. So much so that what we are seeing is something that we have not seen really in women's college basketball in my lifetime, which is parity. Parity. In other words, a lot of good teams, not just those 2 or 3 that we, back in the day, your moms and your pops, it was always Tennessee, UConn, Stanford, one of those squads. And then everybody else was kind of on that second and third level. It's a lot of good women's squads right now in college basketball. So much so that already in just the first 2 weeks of the season, we've had 7 top 25 teams lose already. Understand, as compared to the last 20 seasons, there is more people who have lost this year than in all those last 20 seasons combined in the first 10 games or so in the top 25. That's just how much parity it is. A lot of teams also playing a lot of good teams early on in the women's college season, which is another reason why we're starting to see a lot of upsets. That being said, there are teams that are not ranked that are upsetting people, just like how my girls in UConn got upset by North Carolina State. I'm definitely liking my UConn squad even still. I'm not liking how the rotations went in that game, of course, but definitely like that squad. I really like the kid Rivers that played for North Carolina State. She is definitely a fringe lottery pick based on how she played against UConn. Stanford looking good early on. They got Brink, of course, who's definitely going to be a top 5 pick, I believe, in the next WNBA draft. Of course, you got South Carolina, who is now the new number 1 team in the country, who are playing well. Like I said, their big person in the middle, Cordell. She is 6'7", almost 6'8", and she is playing even better than she was last year. So definitely look for her. And of course, you can't leave out Iowa's Caitlin Clark, who is on a whole nother level with hers. Okay, she is the new what's happening in basketball. She will definitely, no doubt, be the number one pick this year. Whether she ends up going to Seattle or Phoenix or whoever ends up getting that number one pick, she's gonna be a star day one. I see her winning Rookie of the Year easy. I see her averaging about 20 points a game easy. She is basically a version of little bit LeBron mixed with Steph Curry. I would describe her as that. She is the Larry Bird of her time in women's basketball. No doubt. I love me some Dawn Staley, says Hugh. I definitely love Coach Staley as well. She is doing a great job coaching. And they got another kid on that South Carolina squad. I can't remember her name. We're going to have to learn it because that one game she played last week, she put some moves on tape that you would not believe. That kid is a guard and she is something special, okay? It is a lot of good women's play, a lot of good women's play. I think just last Sunday alone, there were like 9 teams that scored over 100 points in women college basketball. That is something that I have never seen. So, yes, scoring is up. The overall play is up. You don't just have like that 1 or 2 people on a squad that can shoot and everybody else just can kind of dribble. You got a lot of quality teams out there. So, it's really going to be a good college basketball season for the men and the women, really. But especially for the women from what I'm seeing thus far. So, yeah, those are my discussions on that. Like I say, it's so much more we can talk about in regards to all of that. I'm going to have to let you guys watch some Sports Center and check it out. But, of course, we will try to keep you abreast of all the major developments in all these sports in the weeks to come. But, of course, we have to give you guys time so that we can check out the Guru's football session. And we will be doing that, my friends, after this word from the Nighthawk Network. As you know, I've been working on the promos. Let me see which one I want to hit y'all with. All right, we're going to go with this one here. And then we're going to go hook up with the Guru, okay?
Find more from Hugh Lee on the Pure to the Game Sports blog or on his Guru's Perspective podcast on Spotify or Anchor Podcasts.
What's going on, good people? It's your boy E-Buck, and y'all know what time it is. Time for the show. Within the show, the one we call the Guru's football session. I'm having a couple of technical difficulties, so give us a minute to kind of really get in the groove. I'm looking at my partner right now. He got that face. Don't make that face, Hugh. We gonna get it together, bro. It's all good. Y'all see that face he making. Anyway, all right, look. It's time to talk to football. It was week 10. We already established in our last couple of attempts to try to do this that we're not talking about last Thursday game between the Bears and the Panthers because it was trash. So now we can move on.
Definitely no Frankfurt game neither. So I want to get into the
trash. Agreed.
Yeah, that Detroit Lions game was exciting as far as it had me, on my toes because at one point we were dominant. You want to go past that game too?
No. Score, please. Remember, we need score. 41-38
yeah,
was the final score of that one.
Yeah. It was bad, man. As far as if you like defense, you ain't like that game. I liked it because it was a lot of offense. But the one thing I didn't like about it was the fact that Aaron Glenn seemed like he started to digress again with that defense. I definitely still feel like it was a head scratcher getting Emmanuel Mosley, the guy only played a game, and when he played that game, he hurt for an entire season. And you got I'm gonna start calling him cooked Cam Sutton, because he was getting cooked by Keenan Allen, but he ain't the only person that ever got cooked by him. I was telling people put respect on Keenan Allen's name. He's one of those receivers that people don't really give credit where credit's due. He could easily be in the top 5 if he got the credit that he deserved, which he never will. But that being said, 41-38, I just feel like the only reason we outlast them because we have to ball last. But I feel like Dan Campbell made some ballsy moves like that 4th and 2 to get us closer with the field goal, because our kicker has been kind of suspect as of late. But just the passing yards was ridiculous, man. My man's had 323 yards and 4 scores. We can't allow that from another quarterback, no matter how elite they are, man. They got to pick it up on defense. We were already discussing before in the past, and I told you that game, I was still worried about that pass rush, because without Aiden Hutchinson, there's really no pass rush over there. So, yeah, I wanted somebody on the opposite end of him that could help him out. We had a chance to give up a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. A lot of people were saying, talking heads, that might not be the culture here, and that might not fit because it'll be a big salary cap, hit with us. And, we're trying to pay some of the players that's already in the house, but still, you need some type of pass rush. Did you see what they did, as far as try to get some pass rush now? I'm not really satisfied with that neither whatsoever.
Okay, you can fill us in on that one in a minute, but in terms of what I saw in the game, it goes back to what we've been saying all year. It's the reason why I keep saying, yes, the Lions absolutely a playoff team, absolutely a team that should actually win a playoff game. Are they ready for the big time? No, not yet. And the reason why will be that defense. It is it in a nutshell. The offense only gonna get better. Remember the trade that we actually did make for Donovan Peoples-Jones. That brother didn't even play last week. So imagine we would have had him in the mix along with everything else. It really would have been cooking. So also remember, Williams had like 1 or 2 catches. He wasn't really even a part of that particular offense that particular day. So offensively, I'm not worried about us at all. It's that defense that's not gonna get us where we need to go at the moment.
I liked seeing what David Montgomery did. I like what Jahmyr Gibbs did too, man. They went crazy. And they had some big runs in the game. I believe Gibbs had 70 yards, 2 scores, and then my man's David Montgomery had 116 yards and a score. But on the other end, you have my man's Keenan Allen had like 175 yards and 2 touchdowns, man. That's why I was saying too, Cam Sutton and the guys on defense got to pick it up, man. Because now that we don't really have the pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson, it's like what's going to happen on those corners. And you can see Cam Sutton, I don't think he's ready for big time. I believe when we play like a Dallas Cowboys or somebody, CeeDee Lamb's going to have a good game against him. And I just don't really feel like right now that corner play and the extra pass rusher outside Aiden Hutchinson, that's what's really worrying me. That's a game I have jotted down for us as a possible loss. I'm really surprised they pulled this game off, to be honest with you. I just feel like good teams find ways to pull out games. But in this case, man, they've definitely got exposed on defense.
I mean, the thing was, I was never really in a place where I thought we were going to lose that game. And that sounds crazy as a Lions fan for over 40 years, because usually when a game is close like that, you're just sitting there waiting to see how we lose it. You know what I'm saying? I know it was several of you Lions fans is not the real deal, or maybe because you is the real deal. When it came down to that last field goal, you sitting there thinking, yep, they're going to find a way to mess this up, and it's going to go to overtime and we're going to lose, because we didn't seen it happen so many times with the Lions. But again, these are not your daddy's and your granddaddy's Lions. So have a little faith. The Kool-Aid still tasting good. It could have been a little sweeter, though. They could have put a few more ice cubes in it. In other words, we should have been able to win by a little bit more than 3. I don't think we're going to have those problems the next couple games, seeing we got the Bears and the Packers on deck. They looking like fresh meat like a motherfucker for the Lions. Yummy, yummy.
Yeah, man, I want to get to one of the games that was special. He had back-to-back special weeks, man. Have to definitely respect this guy, one of the best rookies that ever came out and played the quarterback position. I'm talking about Mr. CJ Stroud. He pulled out a really tough game against the Cincinnati Bengals, 30-27. And when I thought that the game could have been over, I still feel like it was question marks. Yeah, I feel like you had Jamar Chase. I think T. Higgins wasn't there hurting because, yeah, you still had Tyler Boyd, but I just feel like he didn't step up when he needed to. The funny thing is, he made a crazy, miraculous catch and ran it all the way to the goal line. And he was wide open and couldn't catch the ball, couldn't reel it in. I know they're professionals, but sometimes, man, when you look at football, man, still, man, they gonna make a mistake or a hiccup every now and then. But all in all, man, when I thought that, okay, this game might go into overtime, I was wrong, man. CJ Stroud marched down the field, had back-to-back comeback wins with that field goal, and I was like, man, I know they feeling good right now in Houston because not only we didn't think that they'll be this good, but they're above 500 and they're competing in a playoff race.
Well, you know what? While we put some respect on CJ Stroud's name, keep in mind the man that helped get him started. And I'm not talking about his college coach. I'm not talking about his high school coach. I don't know if Hugh knows this fact or not, but you know that CJ Stroud started playing Pee Wee style football out there in Cali, and you know who his head coach was? That would be one Calvin Brodus, also known as Snoop Doggy Dogg. That was one of his guys.
Mm-hmm.
And now he done went from that to playing in the big time. So I know Mr. Snoop Dogg is very proud of what his boy is doing out there with Houston. Like I said, in the same token, perhaps if you are there in that town called Carolina, you might be sucking yourself upside the head thinking, dang, we could have had him instead of old boy. Not that it's all old boy's fault in Carolina. Carolina need a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
And that's what I was about to say. Not really trying to come to his defense, but I definitely had to come to Bryce Young's defense because that O-line is really bad.
Alabama, by
the way. He went to this situation where he knew he was going to have a bad team, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad because due to the fact that Devontae Foreman was over there. I remember they got rid of a lot of players at first, and we're like, man, is Carolina on drugs? And they still competed. They were very close to still going to the playoffs last year with that suck division they was in. But it was just surprising to me, man, because the offense really is so bad right now. Did you hear the news that Frank Reich said he about to take over the play calling again? But that's not going to help that line, E. Not at all. And not only that, I just didn't feel like that team was ready, man, this year. I thought that they put a lot of personnel around him, but they're still not good. That team sucks, and they got a long ways to go.
Hell, Frank Reich could suit back up and pretend that he playing the Houston Oilers again. It wouldn't matter. It's a wrap on them. But then remember, Carolina did not originally have the number one pick. You do realize that, right? Remember, the Bears originally had that pick and traded it to Carolina. So imagine if you would have had that dude instead of the dude that you have right now in Justin Fields. Would that have made the Bears any better? With either one of them quarterbacks for that matter, with him or CJ Stroud? No. I say no.
I definitely don't think so. But Stroud had another strong performance, man. And one thing that was crazy, he had the 356 yard in the score, but that interception, man, and I seen it coming. I say, I don't think he see that guy lurking, man. As soon as he threw the ball, the guy looked open at first, and he cherry-picked the play, man. That was a really good play for them, too, that pick to set up the score. And it was just a really good game, and that just shows the poise of him. Because remember – that game when they played Tampa Bay, when Baker Mayfield scored, I thought the game was over. And he went down and scored the last drive, and he did the same thing this week. It just seems like there's no break in this kid, man. He just seems like he's comfortable in his own skin and he's comfortable in that system. And, yeah, man, one of the best guys to do it right now as one of the rookie quarterbacks, and I see him breaking a lot of records this year.
Hey, bottom line is, I said it like I said it a couple weeks ago. This is probably the best rookie quarterback we have seen since the great Dan Marino. I am very much personal. And keep in mind, a lot of talking heads are starting to put him in that MVP conversation. Amazingly enough, and remember, the last person to win MVP as a rookie was the great Jim Brown, so many years ago.
And they definitely should put him in there because the way he's been playing, he definitely hasn't been playing like no rookie. He kind of reminded me of a little bit more poised Justin Herbert when he first came out, man. So yeah, I still feel like this guy got potential to go some places, man. And then they end up getting Stingley back and some of the guys on defense. Man, that's a fun team to watch.
Absolutely.
I want to get into the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay game. You know, we laughed about these guys and said they just somehow figure out how to pull out games at the last minute. Because when I tell you, Kenny, Pickett's stats, man, this dude was terrible. He had like 126 yards, no scores. I just didn't see too much out of him, man. I'm just not to the point where I still buy into Kenny Pickett. I like Jalen Warren. I was surprised that they gave him the starting running back role, but at the same time, Najee Harris hasn't done anything for the last few years. And I felt like it definitely was time for a change. But to get that victory 23-19, I felt like it was still an opportunity for Green Bay, but I feel like it was like putting it on the line and having Jordan Love being the guy to try to handle this game. I didn't think that was the right idea. And plus, that Steelers defense always find a way. So it wasn't really a great game, but I looked at it like the Steelers defense bailed Kenny Pickett out again. That's what I got to say.
Okay, I'm starting to detect the theme here, Hugh. Najee Harris, what school did he go to?
He went to Alabama, but he ain't the starting quarterback.
Okay, moving on. You know I'm picking with Hugh, y'all. But anyway, yeah, Pittsburgh is somehow still managing to win despite everything. The only way we can explain it is it's that Tomlin life, dog. He about that life. It's something about playing for Coach Tomlin that make you do things that you shouldn't be able to do. I can't believe that actually the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they win and the Ravens lose tomorrow, will actually be in first place in their division based on what we have seen from them offensively. It's crazy. I mean, granted, we know that defense really, really, really good. TJ Watt doing his TJ Watt thing. But it's just crazy how they just keep managing to win again and again.
Yeah, because that offense is terrible. Well, Kenny Pickett.
Trash.
And I can't. They had to do something over there, too, to get the team a little bit more motivated because what they had in place wasn't working. And that Warren kid, man, he ran all over the place. I definitely thought that was a stinker game, but it was good to see the Pittsburgh Steelers defense hold when they needed to.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we forgot, y'all. Steelers 23, Packers 19 was the score of that game. Like I said, they ain't blowing nobody out, but they grinding it out. They make a way, man. They make a way.
The next game I want to talk about was a hiccup game, man. Funny, too, because we all still look at it and feel like Will Levis, that's his job this year, man. They definitely should keep it with him. But I feel like Tampa Bay defense hasn't been really that bad this year. They've been okay, but they rattled him with that front, man. When you got guys like Vita Vea and you got, Devin White and you got like those talented players on that side of the ball, they basically rattled him, man. And then I have to say, too, you got to give props to their actual their coach too, man, because their coach is known for defense. So I definitely feel like that was a game that, it was a hiccup game, but I still feel like when Will Levis get a do-over, he'll do better because 20-6, I expected a little bit more from him. But Bowles was thinking different, man. And I just think that he wasn't prepared for a team like that, man. Having Bowles as the actual defensive-minded coach he is, they had some type of plays and blitz packages and like some looks that guy will never haven't seen yet. So I think that he'll be okay, but still that 20-6 man, it made him look pretty bad, but I still feel like that's his job to lose right now.
CJ Stroud in the NFL is an anomaly. Okay, everybody ain't gonna be CJ Stroud. Keep in mind, it was, I believe, 10 different rookies have started an NFL game or first time starters in the NFL this so far this season. So yeah, more times than not, when you start a rookie, at some point he gonna hit a wall. He gonna see some stuff that he ain't familiar with. That's pretty much what happened with that Tampa Bay game. Tampa Bay got a decent defense, but I think they just ran into somebody that wasn't quite prepared to contend with all that. So that's what it was in a nutshell. Bottom line is I see no reason why Will Levis should not be starting the rest of the season in Tennessee because I know the coach is not going to be on the hot seat there. So he might as well see what he got with Levis. And yeah, Tannehill, you already know what time it is. You 35 anyway. Maybe it's time to go ahead and sit it on down.
It's been time. I want to get into one of the more crazy head scratcher games to me, the Browns versus the Ravens. I was kind of looking at the game today too. I seen it on NFL Network, and the funny part about the game was they was praising the Ravens and how good and how dominant they are at home. I think that got to their heads when they were up 17-3. I said, okay, this might look like a game that get out of hand. Sure enough, man, their fourth quarter woes has been a huge issue. It seems like they play well in the first, second, and third quarter. In the fourth quarter, man, they let a lot more go. And surprisingly enough, man, you still got to respect that number one defense and the Cleveland Browns. And it was crazy because when they scored that touchdown and it was 24-31, I said, okay, we got us a ball game. Lamar Jackson get the ball, tip pass, pick six. They missed the field goal. The extra point, but came down and made the field goal to make the score 33-31. I feel like when Lamar Jackson and the offense is doing good and the Ravens team's doing good, we give them praises. But the mental mistakes, man, and some of the things that he did with the ball, and I feel like they wasn't running the ball enough. They got too pass happy as well. They need to tone that down. You're going to have games like that. I still give credit to the Cleveland defense, but I still feel like some of that blame has to be with Lamar Jackson and them being better at, the time management and running the ball.
Help me out here, Hugh. Who is the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens?
Justin Tucker, one of the best in the game.
So anytime I see that dude miss a field goal in the game, I know they in trouble. Because that dude don't miss. He don't miss from 40, 50, 60. You know us Lions fans know that. So 66. Any field goal, I have a bad feeling about what's going to happen with Baltimore. When I seen him miss that field goal early on in that game, I kind of had that feeling. Now, granted, it took some extraordinary play from a person who obviously was very injured at the time and one Deshaun Watson to make them the winner in that game. But it's something about that division in general. I said it at the beginning of the year when we did our predictions that was going to be the toughest division in football, and they have yet to prove me wrong. I am absolutely seeing that. Like I said, hell, the Steelers got a winning record in that division, for God's sake. So, yeah, I'm not surprised of what we saw in terms of it being that close. It's just, yeah, we starting to see some chinks in that armor as far as the Ravens go. Again, I put them slightly above the line you got to after they whooped our butt like that, but I still feel like they're not ready for prime time when it comes down to the big games.
Speaking of people not ready for prime time in the big games, I'm glad you just led off into this next game. San Francisco 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was surprised because I still feel like Jacksonville will put up a fight, but then I know that it had to been eating up the 49ers losing 3 games straight, and then after that bye, those guys came out clicking. I still feel like in that game, Brock Purdy threw some questionable passes. Surprised that they were caught and ran back for like some pretty good yardage. But it was a pretty good bounce back game for him too. Um, Having like 296 yards and 3 scores. But man, I definitely didn't think that it was going to be 34-3, man. If you had to, say the final score of the game, I thought that I gave them a whole touchdown, but I didn't think that they'd get beat that bad. And Trevor Lawrence, he stinked that game.
Bottom line is 49ers are back. They got everybody healthy and they played like it. Truthfully, it should have been more than that. Remember, part of why the score wasn't bigger than that is because they basically kept trying to force feed that guy McCaffrey, trying to get him the all-time record for consecutive games with a touchdown. And he almost made it, but not quite. That's the only thing I really didn't like about that game, because I really wanted him to break that record. I like that dude, Stanford's own. But when all is said and done, the 49ers still going to have to be reckoned with, even with Brock Purdy, because we all know Brock Purdy a decent quarterback maybe. But no, he not quite. I mean, you put a Mahomes or, hey, you put a Jared Goff on that squad right now, yeah, they probably
Man. I'm gonna definitely agree with you, man. But I think too mentally, Trevor Lawrence got rattled when they were blitzing him. I think it was like 3 sacks in the first quarter, man. It wasn't even like a good 5 minutes into that first quarter. So I understand him being rattled like that. But the 185 yards and 2 interceptions and not really doing anything, and the only thing that happened was a McManus field goal. That definitely surprised me. But then the funny thing is too, I still feel like the NFL jinx people when they say the hottest team or the best team, because they were saying that about the Jags. They said that about us, and they said that about the Ravens. And guess what happened? They all lost. After they made those comments.
Absolutely. That being said, I guess we could expect the Texans to lose this week. Everybody expect on their name this week.
I want to talk about a game that I know that's close and dear to you too. We got to give love to that rocket scientist, man. This dude didn't know what the hell the locker room was when they showed him going into the locker room. But his IQ, man, and him being a rocket scientist definitely will put him in any situation, man, whether it's good or bad, and he'll persevere. This guy, man, had a pretty decent game, 268 yards, and he had a score. And that was one of the best games I ever seen TJ Hawkinson play, besides when he was here. The funny part about it, too, was I felt like Kirk Cousins didn't use him as much as he should. And now he has that trust in Dobbs. He's starting to look like a Travis Kelce type, man. But it was pretty good, too, because of the game. I was surprised with Brian Flores with that defense, because the defense pretty much banged up my man's Carr, and Derek Carr got rattled that game. I definitely like some of the things that Jameis Winston's did, with the 2 touchdowns, but with the 2 picks, man, it wasn't really necessary, and that kind of shows you still to this day that he had the talent, but that's why he still is a backup quarterback, man, because the interceptions are too out of control. But all in all, it was just basically a good game, and it showed too that Josh Dobbs, man, in any situation can, do well, man. And he don't really know that playbook that good, but give him another week, and I still see him doing better. I mean, they're gonna have to take us soon, so I'm not cheering for him too much. But at the same time, man, I'm really impressed with what he's doing out there.
That being said, let me go back to a story I heard from one of the talking heads in regard to one Joshua Dobbs. Put some respect on his name. The man they call the Pastronaut, one of the best nicknames in football right now. I love it. But here's the thing with him and Hawkinson. Apparently, this all started with them back when he was with the Lions. And they got cool because, they basically sat together in the lunchroom one day and kicked it. And then it got to a point to where after the season, Josh was looking for people to throw to, and Hawkinson was on his phone list, so he would call Hawk, and he would be one of his people he threw to in the offseason. So they had already had a relationship prior to him coming to Minnesota. So that's another reason why they're so comfortable with one another, is because of the fact that they've been kind of working together for a minute. Did not know that until I heard that story. But that being said, yeah, it's looking like they might have another Brady Gronk situation going on with them too in Minnesota if they keep it on up. Because here's the thing, y'all. If Dobbs, let's just say he make it close to the playoffs in the rest of these games. Remember, your guy, yeah, that dude, Mr. You like that? This is last year his contract, okay? So they may then exercise the option to say, okay, you did your thing. It's time for you to go on your merry way, sir. We rolling with Dobbs. It could happen.
It possibly could too, depending on what's going on with them and how they looking in the playoff running. But yeah, man, I definitely feel like it's time for them to move on from Kirk Cousins. He's a great regular season quarterback, but when it comes to the playoffs, he just don't make good decisions. But at the same time, now we've seen how close some of those victory was last year that they pulled out, and it just didn't work that way this year. So
Right.
I don't really see him back.
Isn't it ironic that the only two people to ever have fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL, one Kirk Cousins and one Deshaun Watson, are both now out for the year with injuries. That being said, good luck on the next bargaining agreement with the NFL Players Association, because I don't see them guaranteeing nobody's contract fully ever again after this.
I definitely agree, because even when Ramsey got hurt, even though he back right now, but for that time he was out rehab and trying to get himself together, he was getting paid nice.
Indeed.
Another crazy game, man, and I really wasn't surprised because Atlanta haven't really showed much to me. They tried to bulk up and they had some pretty good guys on defense, but that team in general is still in disarray because remember at one point they was loving Riddler and now he's not playing. When you put your team faith in Taylor Heineke, man, that's how I knew y'all was in trouble for one. But it was pretty good too to see Kyler Murray come back and how well he played, man. Because people was thinking that knee wasn't gonna hold up, and not only did the knee hold up, man, he showed out. He looked like a little kid, like they said, who was running with their parents' cell phone. Man, that dude was lights out that game, and that was another impressive game too, where it was all decided when the time expired with a field goal.
What that man seems to need is a offensive coordinator that's going to stylize the offense to tailor his great abilities. Supposedly, that's what was being done previously with the previous head coach of Arizona, but clearly, I think it was more about what Kingsdale could do with his offense, not so much what he could do with Kyler Murray. Perhaps Kyler Murray would take a greater interest in learning all things offense if he had somebody say, look, we're going to set this up to deal with your strengths and whatnot, much like they've done with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson. I think then you will get your best out of Kyler Murray. He is definitely an NFL quarterback. He just got to have the right people to believe in him.
Agree. Because I feel
Atlanta
like
goes, I'm just waiting for them to announce that they'll be getting a new coach.
And I would say they need to go ahead and get them an actual real quarterback in the draft this season.
That should happen also.
I really don't want to talk about this game right here because it was bad. And I still feel like my man's went from being a coach of the year to being probably one of the main guys that possibly might get fired on Black Monday. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys once again with the New York Giants, the sequel. 49-17.
Must we? Yeah, we must.
That I felt bad for Tommy DeVito too, being a third string quarterback. I happened to face that defense, man. But it was just a mess for them. They was in trouble from the beginning when they said that Tyrod Taylor wasn't playing. And put your faith in the third round or like a third string receiver. I don't really got no beef with him, but I just didn't feel like he's ready, man. And that showed, man, because they put up 240 pieces up against these guys, man. And that's kind of embarrassing when you got an offensive minded coach. And that's what they were saying, that Josh Allen kind of digressed when Brian Daboll left, but he's over there with a team, and they would start comparing his growth for Daniel Jones to like Josh Allen. But you can't really give credit to none of them now, man, because at least Josh has some talent. But I still feel like my man's just look like he's confused all the time. Daniel Jones, like he don't know what the hell going on. But I still feel like they, now that he's out for the year, speaking of people being out for the year, they need to move on and try to find their franchise quarterback again.
In the meanwhile, it's a name that ain't came up in several weeks, but as long as he still seems to want to play, I gotta go there. You mean to tell me Colin Kaepernick couldn't do better than Tommy DeVito right now? I'm just saying.
You know who came on that game?
With a heart condition, I might be better than Tommy DeVito. Shit.
Brandon Cooks came on that day. He actually played pretty good.
Yeah, like
you know, I said, Cooks,
Cowboys, they just took turns. They just spin like, okay, your turn. It
wasn't really like they had no competition to do much with. But my man's be so weird. Moving on to the next game, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde love-hate relationship with me and this dude. But when I actually seen him play this game, that tired game, I said, damn, man, you know what I'm saying? Howell was balling, man. He had 312 yards and 3 scores. But I just felt like with Geno and them, they just outlasted those guys, man. I still feel like the play that broke their backs was the Kenneth Walker, like when he got that screen and ran them up for like 63 yards for the score. That's what I think was the backbreaker. But it was pretty impressive, though, to see how Sam Howell and them came back in that game and still gave competition to them and almost pulled it off. But, yeah, man, we keep saying it's something about the Steelers and how they keep pulling off games. But Geno had like 369 through the air with 2 scores as well, man. I think that he found his home, man, because at the same time, we always talking about how Russ used to cook in Seattle. I feel like it's time for Geno now to, get his cook on. But it was still a really solid game, man, better than what I thought. And that was one of them games I was talking about, too, came down to the very last end with the time expiring off of a field goal, man. Most of those games was like down to the wire, man, on Sunday. And that's one of the things we was missing, one of them missing elements, because either you was getting blew out or you lost by a touchdown. But like 6 games was determined by field goals, man. At first, it was 5 until what happened on Monday, and we will go into that shortly.
I mean, in the end, I still don't quite know what I want to do. Man, I don't know if they a really good playoff team, if they just an overachieving middle of the pack team, or if they just doing a good job with the luck of the draw they schedule. I don't know. Seattle, much like Pittsburgh, it confused me. I mean, you got to put respect on that coach because, again, Seattle, they were supposed to tank once Russell was gone. And it ain't happy. They still doing their thing.
Surprising enough, man, because I definitely felt like that was the end for them. Remember when they lost Russ and people was like, man, that's crazy. That was a bad move. Why did, Pete Carroll do that? Obviously, Pete Carroll seen something we didn't see, because and when you think about it, too, he was like you kind of seen the relationship kind of, go distance on them. I feel like Russ blamed a lot on he didn't get a chance to do what he wanted to do in the offense, and then more or less the scheme was based on what Pete Carroll wanted him to do. But now he's over in Sean Payton's offense, and guess what? You don't got no freedom over there neither. You basically got to get in line with what Sean Payton wants you to do. So it's like it really wasn't no difference, but I still felt like Pete Carroll let him do a little bit more than what he's doing now. We just got to start putting respect on that.
Since you done brought it up, we might as well go ahead and get to the Monday night game because by far, as I put on my Facebook page, that was the worst Monday night football game I've ever seen in my life. It had a little bit of everything. Go on, talk about it, Hugh.
Pretty weird game to me, man, because what I liked about the game first and foremost was just basically the fact that the defense was just it was lights out. Remember, this is the same defense that gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. They got rid of a few people, switched a few people, did a few tweaks, and man, now they've been solid, man. I understand Patrick Mahomes had the flu, but they shut that team down. And I feel like the main thing that was exposed because it's not a wide receiver who basically went out there and said, hey, I'm that guy over there in Kansas City. And they double teamed my man's Travis Kelce. At the end of the day, man, the defense just basically showed up and showed out, man. I thought that they should have beat them by more. But it was just the fact that they couldn't score as much. But when it came for them to score and do crucial plays and to take advantage of the game, they did. Because remember, at one point they were up a little bit. I think they were up by 8 points, and then Buffalo came back and they took the lead. The weird part about it is, though, when I seen this game is how poor Josh Allen played again. Out of the games that he's played since 2018, man, that's 93 interceptions that he's thrown. And then that's when you hear all that talk and all that crap what was going on with Trayvon Diggs. You know Stephon had something to say, and you know he must have said something to his brother in order for his brother to react like he did. It's time to get that guy out of here, man. He got to go. Stephon Diggs is a cancer, and I don't think that he should be there, man. Well, I want to know your thoughts.
Okay, so basically you're going to put it on Stephon Diggs as he the problem. Him not the problem. You know what the real two problems was. They dealt with one of them when they went ahead and got rid of Dorsey this week. Granted, it's still a scapegoat move at best. But the other problem is that the guy that's the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, I don't think he should be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. He is not creating an environment to help them succeed because in the end, those are your two best players. They don't seem to more or less have an issue with each other per se. They seem to get along okay. But in terms of what's going on the field, something is not connecting right. And you as head coaches, your job to fix that. Notice how we're not hearing no issues with Devontae Adams these days over there with the Raiders ever since Houston took over, even though Devontae's still not getting off like that. Everything cool over there. Head coach does matter because not only do you need to be good at scheming them X's and O's, you also need to be a good leader of men. You see what I'm saying? We got issues at the Lions, but know how you don't hear about them. Know how they're not permeating to the point to where we have any issues because our head coach is a good leader of men. That is the real problem in Buffalo. Bottom line is, based on the play, it would make more sense to get rid of Josh Allen than Diggs, but that ain't about to happen.
And Sean McDermott, to me, is an okay coach, but then at the same time, that whole scapegoat move with Ken Dorsey wasn't cool. But then again, Joe Brady, I guess now he's the flavor of the month. You know how he did when they won them championships in LSU. Matt Rule put him over there with the Panthers. That didn't work out as much, and then now he's over here with the Bills, and they was ready for him to take reins. But at the same time, if they're still losing and they play as bad as they have been playing, yeah, I know that they had Tre'Davious White. He's not there. Matt Milano and a couple of pieces on defense. But still, that shouldn't matter, man, because it's like, will the real Von Miller stand up, please? You haven't heard his name. I forgot that he was even playing.
Well, remember, Hugh, you was the one that was lauding that brother when he came over, and that first year he came over, he was doing his this. But now,
don't you even pull no crap like that, because I got a bone to pick with you. That whole Najee Harris when you just threw me under the bus. Remember, you was the one who was that dude when he came to the Steelers. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that, E. But yeah, hey, but
Boucher,
that
my
dude,
brother.
I've been disappointed with Von Miller, man. And I told you that though. I said, man, where is Von, man? And then when you told me, and it was sad that you said that, you said, damn, I forgot he was off the injury reserve. I don't know, man. Them to dismantle that team and it's time for a do-over, man.
Well, like
Starting
I
with
said, it's a few players like that. Yeah, we just played the Chargers. Damn, Khalil Mack is on that team, ain't he? I
man.
couldn't tell. Shit.
You seen most of the whole game. You ain't even seen Khalil Mack.
Khalil had about one tackle that I recall. That's about it. Outside of that, he was unheard of.
And you know what's funny too? You know what a trend is? All these guys was free agents making big deals, man. Sometimes the system is better than what the players are. You know, when you got a good system in mind, yeah, you need the players to run that system. But sometimes when you go to a new system and a whole new personnel, it's totally different, man. It ain't the same.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully that's a good thing in the case of Chase Young, because they say Chase loving it over there in San Fran. They say he's loving it.
Man, he was everywhere, man. It was like him and Nick Bosa sandwiching my man's Trevor Lawrence, man. They basically took his confidence that game, man. But I'm definitely hoping he reboot because I still feel like that's a good, fun team to watch.
Yeah, but going back to our original game here with the Buffalo and the Denver, like I said, if you were a person trying to show people what the NFL is like and what a good game could be, not knowing these two teams as for who they was, this is the type of game you would have them watch because, like I said, you got a little bit of everything good and bad. You had some good plays by Josh Allen. You had a lot of bad plays by Josh Allen. You had some good plays by Russell Wilson. You had some bad plays by Russell Wilson. You had some good catches. Hell, that one catch that Sutton did in the end zone, that shit was incredible. But then you had some bad plays. It's like, what was you thinking when you ran that? It was a lot of that went on throughout that whole game. And then the way the game ended where, okay, here goes the winning field goal. Oh, no. The field goal's no good. Oh, wait. You had 12 men on the field. Stupid. Okay, re-kick. It's good. We win. Unbelievable.
That was sad. Remember, you see how crazy that was, man? Did you see the Manning cast? How stunned they was? Like, man, what the hell is going on?
I was actually watching that part when that happened. I was watching the Manning cast at the end of the game. They was just kind of like, well, that was different.
They got to focus on that O-line too, man, because I don't know what the hell was going on. They was off on the cadence. It was so many false starts with the Broncos. The game just really wasn't interesting, man, at that point, man. You know, as soon as they get off a real good play with like a run play or pass play, a false start, man, and they constantly was in a hole. That's why I was still surprised there, even though how many mistakes they made. It seemed like Josh Allen helped them out too on some instances, man, with some of those picks he threw. They were kind of necessary.
Let's talk about James Cook for a minute. How basically at one point in the game they had sat him down like, yeah, we're gonna bench you. And then something happened. All of a sudden they put him back in the game, and he started running like he was Emmitt Smith in that mud. It was crazy. But then, as soon as he got a good groove, they stopped doing to him. It made no sense.
Like when Josh Allen ran that touchdown in, I said, man, your hot hand should have been rewarded, man. Yeah, it was just a great game.
Reaction when he ran in that touchdown and ran to the crowd, he was kind of like, y'all don't love me for real, and walked on off.
Yeah, he was definitely feeling some kind of way because they booed them the whole night.
Mm-hmm. As they should have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, anyway, like I said, it was a pretty interesting week last week in the NFL. Not quite as good as the week before, but still a good one. Nonetheless, we're going to get y'all situated for next week's game. But before we go there, I got to ask you a quick question about, of course, the biggest scandal going on in college football right now. What are your thoughts on the whole Harbaugh situation,
I'm actually getting tired of it, man. I had tried to make light of it, man, putting up the picture when I did one of the memes, but I'm pissed off, because I'm tired of it, man. I don't even want to hear it anymore, man. You know, Yeah, I still got ties to Alabama because of my family, but where I'm living at is Michigan, man. You know, I get tired of people from out of town and like on ESPN and all these networks, man, dogging out the organization, man, and saying they're cheaters. Um, they can't beat a team without cheating. And I wasn't really feeling the whole situation with the mockery in the Penn State game when a guy scored and then he threw up the binoculars. I said, okay, y'all want to do that. I said, man, the game ain't over yet, man. You need to definitely keep yourself together, you know, because Michigan came down, scored to win the touchdown, and then basically did the same, you know, mockery. Like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. You can say what you want, but talent-wise, they have one of the best teams, if not, I feel like the best team in football. But I definitely still feel like on this note, though, man, we talk about it a lot. I think that that's the end for Harbaugh because it's getting too out of hand and he's going to have to definitely step down and he's going to have to go back to the pros, man. I know it's a lot of jobs just waiting for him, but this scandal right here, man, was blown out of proportion. It was funny because, you know, people was bringing up the Patriots like, you know, Tom Brady and Belichick and them cheated and he was loved even more after that. But when it comes to Harbaugh, like you said, I don't know who he pissed off, but he definitely got the right person, man, because this is like something that's never will end, man, until he finally decides to go to the pros, kind of get that this taste out of his mouth, like what Pete Carroll did with the USC scandal.
The whole thing is just stupid now, and the fact that they did this in the middle of the season, the middle of our best season. In the end, some people saying that's because we cheated that we're at this point. Some people are saying, did we really cheat to the degree that there's being said it is? Other people are saying, hell, damn near everybody cheating. We was just the ones that got caught. So I don't know what to believe in terms of all of that right now. It's just a mess. And as a Michigan fan for over 40 years, you know I'm hating it. I'm hating all the people hating on Harbaugh. And like I said, if I'm him, I'm not staying at Michigan after all this just because I ain't trying to be bothered with this issue no more. And there's other opportunities out there for me. I always did want to go to NFL and be like my brother anyway. So, hey, if he do leave, I ain't mad. I would like for him to stay, but keep in mind, y'all, if he do leave, I can't wait to see who y'all try to replace him with. Because they're going to have a whole bunch of mess to deal with. But anyway, before we go on to this week's picks, we got to give y'all a short little promo. Check it out. All right, we are back to the Guru's football section, the show within the show. That is the Big Buck Sports Show. That is, of course, that dude, the Guru, and he is ready to give you his picks for Week 11 in the NFL. We're going to start out with the Thursday night game. Actually, a good Thursday night game for a change between the Bengals and the Ravens.
Man, I'm gonna have to go with the with the Ravens on this one due to the fact that I'm not really sure, man. The Bengals, yeah, I got to give credit to the Texans, though, man, and how good they played, and that defense was lights out. But it depends, man. It's still a toss-up. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the 3.5 due to the fact that with Baltimore, because I don't know if T. Higgins gonna play, man, and that's been an issue, man. A lot of the banged up receivers and the injuries there as like. Hell, even Joe Burrow was injured when they first came off to the funky start. And once they start getting healthy, they start clicking. But I just don't see it, man. A banged up team, definitely after Sunday going into this Thursday in the early game, playing the Ravens on the road. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens with the points.
Okay, not with them points, y'all. Not at all. It's more of a pick 'em in my mind. But that being said, I got to go with the Ravens for two reasons. One, it's in Baltimore, and they played very well in Baltimore this year. And two, because of what happened in the last game with Baltimore, a game they should have won and didn't win. I mean, granted, same situation with Cincinnati, truthfully, but I just think they'll do a better job of bouncing back because it's at home and they both can play Sunday. So I had to get the advantage to the home team on that.
Agree.
All right, we got a 5-5 Raiders team, man. Yeah, they 5-5 now, y'all, against the 6-3 Dolphins coming off the back.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins and I'm gonna take them points. See.
All right, the points are a remarkable 13.5. Check this out, y'all. Yeah, I too am going with the Dolphins. I'm not going with the points. Call me crazy, but I think the momentum continues with the Raiders, and they find a way to make it a little closer than this. I still say they lose, but I think they are not going to let them get 3 and 4 touchdowns extra on them. I don't think it's going to happen. All right. We got to pick this one because it's the Lions. Lions against the Bears, bro.
I would have took the points more or less to 13-5 with the Lions versus this one right here. I would definitely go over.
Man, these points only 8. I felt disrespected. The Bears is trash. Now, granted, Justin Fields will probably be back for this game. I don't think it makes that big a difference. Yeah, we do have our issues with scrambling quarterbacks, but Justin Fields, with this team that he got, that trash? Nah, I ain't worried about it. Lions all day. All right, we got the Niners at 6-3 against the 4-5 Bucks in San Francisco.
Definitely going with San Fran, and I'm gonna go with those points too. You could go over with that because I don't think they have a chance in San Fran.
And the points in that game is 11.5. Okay, I see a theme with me this week because, again, I'm not going with them points, but I'm definitely going with San Fran. The Buccaneers, they got a decent enough defense to where I don't think they just let them run roughshod over them. I can see them winning by a hot 9 or 10, but that 11.5, I think that's kind of pushing it. So, no, I'm not going with the points, but I'm going with the Niners. Okay, we got the Steelers and the Browns. Keep in mind, people, it has been announced today that Deshaun Watson is out for the season.
I'm going with the Steelers.
How could you not? With no Deshaun Watson, and I'm assuming they haven't adjusted this line yet because they only got Cleveland by 1 point. Yeah, actually, they got Cleveland winning by 1 point. No way in here. Out Deshaun. Not with the Steelers. Okay, we got the Texans against the Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Texans and take the points at home.
I'm going to go with that as well. Okay, we got the Jaguars against the Titans.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars due to the fact that I think that they're going to be pissed off after that game and they want to definitely make things right. They want to make things right after that.
The bounce back is real, and I'm going with the points as well. Okay, we got the Cowboys with another scrimmage game against the Panthers.
I'm gonna definitely take the Cowboys, and I'm gonna go with the points on this one.
Y'all already know. We got the Chargers and the Packers.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers on the road because their offense is better, but the defenses are kind of suspect, both of them. But yeah, I think that just off of the talent of Justin Hubbard and having Keenan Allen, I think that that'll give them enough to pull that game out, and I'm gonna go with those 3 points.
Yeah, they're gonna beat up on the Packers, and that's gonna make them real soft and chewy for when we get them on Thursday. Okay, we got the Giants and the Commanders.
I'm gonna go with the Commanders, and I'm gonna take them points.
I'm not going with the Giants the rest of the year. I can't see them beat nobody. Straight up. We got the Jets and the Bills. Next.
Appreciate you.
Seattle against the Rams coming off a bye.
I'm gonna hit you with it next on that one too,
I agree. We got here's a game: the Vikings against the Broncos, and unfortunately, my friends, that is our Sunday night matchup.
Jesus, they got the Broncos winning. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with the Vikings on this one.
I don't know what drugs they taking in Vegas, but I got the Pastronaut on this one. That's the Vikings all day. And then, of course, we actually got probably the best Monday night matchup of the season when we got the 8-1 Eagles against the 7-2 Kansas City Chiefs with Swelsey in the building.
I'm going to have to go with the away team on this one. I still feel like it's problems with the receiving core with Kansas City. I would be surprised if they can pull it out. They could, but I don't think they will. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one.
Okay, I don't know the concert schedule for one T Swift, but if she manages to come to this game after being in South America, ain't no way they lose. If she come from her concert to come see her mans and them, yeah, they're going to show up and show out. That being said, I'm going with the Chiefs for real, though, because we know our guy is hurt, man. We know that dude Jalen Hurts is hurt, and I think that's going to play somewhere in this game. I
ain't hear what you said. I think it was a glitch in the system. Say what you said again.
I say Jalen Hurts is hurt. It's hurt. Hurts is hurt. Yeah.
Hey, was that a pun intended, or you just jiving with me right now?
No, man. I think because he is a little injured.
I just got to keep saying Jalen Hurts is hurt. That was funny to me.
Yeah, I get
it. But no, we know, man, that calf injury never healed.
No, man. No, sir. And I think that's going to be an issue. So that being said, hopefully we got some good football this week. Before we go, as always, we got to have my man Hugh tell y'all where you can find that brother and what he got going. What you doing, Hugh?
Man, I've been doing it all, man. You can go on to make it easy for you. You can go on Hoovy on Instagram, and I got my leaking treatment. Everything I'm doing right now. I got the Sports Guru to you on Facebook. Hoovy is my Instagram account. Hugh.Lee6 is my TikTok. And of course, I'll be doing the Guru Perspective every Tuesday at 1:00. And that's one of the platforms you can, if you have any questions, some of the things, if you want to talk about on the show, man, I can run it past E and we'll figure it out. But for the most part, I just be trying to give y'all the best news possible once I drop the Guru Perspective and some of the things I've seen and kind of talk about. Because, I don't think people appreciate the fact what I said. And I don't know if you was even aware of this, man. Don't you know how even things are with the Chargers, man? I just thought it was weird to look at the stats, man. They scored 1,502 points. Guess how many points they basically gave up? The same amount.
That's crazy.
I just think that team, man, is definitely in a situation where I'm looking for. I definitely hope Harbaugh, when he do leave, I hope he lands there, man, because I think he got a team to work with there.
Absolutely. And they definitely be tougher on defense than they are now. So that being said, y'all, that will end this portion of the show known as Guru's Football Session. We will come on back on the other end and finish up the Big Buck Sports Report. Thank you as always, Hugh, for doing your thing. Let us get the music playing, and we will be back after a short break. Hold on, y'all. See, it's hard sometimes being a producer and the host. There we go. All right, y'all, and that, my friends, is that was the that was the Guru's Football Session. I'm sorry about that, y'all. That is that for this week. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed it. Before we head out, I'm gonna talk a little baseball right quick. We have the award season jumping off. Congrats to the winners. Garrett Cole was announced the AL Cy Young Award winner. Well deserved. Hard to believe that's that dude's first Cy Young Award, as well as he has pitched over the last, say, 8 to 10 years. But congrats to him. I'm pretty sure they're doing the MVP tomorrow. I will safely assume that one Shohei Ohtani in the National League, and probably the guy in Atlanta who had just the most awesome season will be the MVP in the National League. So we'll see how that plays out. In the meanwhile, there was a little kerfuffle over there in New York as someone asked the GM of the Yankees, Mr. Cashman, his thoughts in regards to the Giancarlo Stanton situation that they had. Because bottom line is he's making a lot of money and they're getting not that much production for said money. Apparently his agent felt some type of way, but let's be honest, people. The man is not getting it done. These are his numbers for this year alone. This year, he hit 24 home runs, has 60 RBIs. Keep in mind, that is on 71 hits. So out of 71 hits, 24 of them was home runs. I imagine another 20 probably was doubles. But in the end, his batting average is the worst of any player that had 400 more at-bats this season. That batting average was a whopping 191. When you hit 191, you don't have much room to say much of anything, especially when you are getting paid almost $30+ million to play that thing called baseball, okay? If you don't like it, Giancarlo, stay healthy and step your game up. Maybe then they'll get up off you. That being said, that ends this week's Big Buck Sports Report. Tune in tomorrow, y'all, when we will be doing the I Am Not Help podcast, where the main topic will be what and who do we trust? And also you will get a preview of the new podcast that I have promised you guys for our entertainment, news, and such. The In They Business podcast. We will talk about that tomorrow as well. So until then, y'all have a very good rest of your evening. There is no outro promo yet for Big Buck Sports Report. So I'm just going to hit y'all off with the intro again until we make that boy. Give me a break, man. I got to produce. I got to make the promo. There's a lot going on in Nighthawk Network. Give me a minute, okay? Peace out, y'all. Deuces.